it was like my biggest driver. I wanted to be recognized as like the Cole player. I didn't want to be one of the best. I didn't want to be like just another name in the hat. I wanted to be the guy. This is a little like personal and kind of mushy, but I'm really, really glad I was able to play PlayStation All-Stars. Not just because it taught me a lot in just improving at something, putting in time and getting better, but I was able to meet like so many great friends because of it, who I still talk to this day. And I'm glad you reconnected after a really long time. I felt like speaking to you felt really natural.
Every gaming community has players whose stories deserve to be remembered. This is one of them. In the first episode of the Archives, we sat down with the original Psy to revisit his journey from discovering PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale at 12 years old to becoming one of the most respected good Cole players in the game's history. Joining the conversation are longtime friends fluffyPandaBOY and Scrub, who share memories of the community, competition, and friendships that grew during one of PlayStation All-Stars' most memorable eras. The Archives is a documentary series dedicated to preserving the stories, tournaments, rivalries, and communities that shape competitive gaming before they're forgotten.
And to start this off, I'm going to say something that I kept a secret for a really long time. I was never a huge fan of Infamous. I actually got into the game at a very young age. I think I was literally 12 years old when I got it. And I actually told people I was much older than I was. And I claimed to be an Infamous fan because I thought it would make my story or my connection to the character look cooler to other people. So that was a moment of childhood. What's the word I'm looking for? Just wanting to fit in, wanting to be acknowledged for something. But I did play the Infamous games. I think they're great games. I just never could get into them. But the way that I got the game itself was because I played it over one of my friends' houses, the beta, and I obviously loved it. I enjoyed it a lot. It was Smash-esque, which I, funny enough, didn't really grow up on Smash, but it was something that intrigued me at that age. Regardless, though, I got into it because I grew up on PlayStation. I wanted to play the characters, and I cycled through two characters before I came to Good Cole. Parappa, because he was in the beta, and then Dante, because he was super flashy and edgy, and I was like, dude, that's sick, I gotta play that. What made me play Good Cole is that I randomly was in Quick Match, and some dude, I don't know his name, just completely embarrassed my Dante, who I was just convinced was like the coolest, sickest character. And I don't really remember if that guy was all that great, not insulting him. I'm more so just speaking to skill levels. I think he was just a random, but he definitely crapped on me. It was not a fun experience. So I picked up the character, started playing him, and immediately saw that there was a lot that he could do because I, looked up some combo videos. I can't remember the exact names of the people that dropped them, but I think it was like Persona World had a good amount of videos up at the time. And I learned a lot from those. But putting it into practice was the hard part. And I got into the character. I saw how many like kill confirms he had, how much variability in his moveset. He's probably the most versatile character when it comes to playing on different maps outside of, I guess, wall-less maps. He benefits so much from platforms. But here's the thing. Good Cole, in like the mainstream scene of All-Stars, which I know mainstream and All-Stars don't really go too well together, but in the more popular side of the community, the YouTube side, a lot of people viewed him as like some chump who didn't have, Evil Cole's Giga Punch. He didn't have his up throw, kill confirm. So like, oh, this character sucks. He's not that good. But the more tight community, I would say, really understood how strong the character was and that there was a really big handle. I wouldn't necessarily say I was the first like good Cole player of notice, but I was the first good Cole player to get noticed by the wider community. And I think that came to be because I was on your channel. And I'm not going to lie, that was a very gratifying feeling because I was at an age where I hadn't really, done too much for myself in terms of just learning skills, learning uh, any hobbies and whatnot. Like I skateboarded and I was pretty proud of that. But this is the first time where I really broke through and understood if I keep at something, I can get pretty good at it. And it was super gratifying having that shown to me in the community. And I would say Good Cole is the biggest reason for that because the character was just kind of like, yeah, this chump character, he's fine. Like, he's no evil Cole. And then I came up on a bigger stage and was able to showcase, like, oh no, this character has so much that can exploit the rest of the cast, from his kill confirmed, like I said, to his mobility and just how adaptable he is. Like, there's very, very, very few matchups for Good Cole is like kind of screwed. And even those, if you switch it to the right map, like he more than holds his own, if not wins. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, I still remember when I first met you was I had just finished like my walkthroughs and I was like, oh, I should do a combo video because I saw Persona's videos as well. And I was like, I know Kratos pretty well, I think. Like, I haven't seen any other combo videos, but like, I played well enough and I've experimented a while. I think I'm going to just make one. Then it did well. I knew Fox Gino at the time. I forgot how we met. But then I was like, oh, I was telling him, oh man, I really want to do some other combo videos, but I just know Kratos. It's before I played Sweet Tooth, Hihachi, and more of the cast. I was just focused on Kratos because I was sick of getting spammed by square, 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 square. Like no burst, no burst combos or anything. And I was like, if I'm gonna lose to these Kratos, I'm gonna be a Kratos 2 with actual combos. And then Fox Gino was like, hey, I know somebody plays the Good Cole. And you were right on that perspective because when I first heard about it, my first impression in my mind was like, oh, isn't like Good Cole bad though? And then I was like, I need another combo video though, because like people were asking and I didn't know. And I was like, okay, let's see. And then he introduced me to you and you were like doing these crazy combos and you were like, oh, sorry if I dropped the combos, like you were kind of nervous. And I was like, oh, it's probably because when people first like start recording, even I get nervous when I first started recording. Like when people record, you get nervous. It's just, but then after like a couple of videos, you're like, it's not a big deal. So I was like, it's probably that. And I was like, just mess up as much as you want. You only have to get it one time. And then you eventually did all the combos. And I was so excited because I was like, yo, Good Cole was supposed to be shit. But then you were doing all these confirms. And I was like, this is going to be crazy. I can't wait to post this. So I was like, taking extra time to edit it. I made the thumbnail. And then when I posted it, I was like seeing all the comments and I was like, oh man, a lot of good players are going to be out there now. So that's going to be annoying to deal with. But it was pretty good seeing you get credibility. And I was like, that's good. Because like, you obviously put a lot of work in. Like I tried messing around with Good Cole as well. And I was like, it takes a lot of patience and practice. I'm going to stick to learning some Heihachi instead. But good Cole was fun to see. Like other players, like I saw Menja play Good Cole, and then I saw other players as well rising. So that was cool to see. But
and Blast from the Past, forgot about those names, man.
Yeah, I was looking through them quickly and starting the memories were starting to come back. And then so tell me this, like when that combo video came out, were you getting any like responses like, hey, face my Good Cole, or hey, can you teach me? Because I remember a lot of people were like, whenever they saw a good like player, hey, can you teach me some combos or stuff like that? What kind of responses did you get from that when
I'm so glad
basically
you brought that up. So yeah, after I dropped or you dropped the combo video, I would get, I'm not joking, this is like the closest I can imagine I've ever been to being a celebrity. And
yeah.
I don't want to overinflate what that was. It's just, messages on a video game. But I would get like 10 plus messages, like from within like the span of a week, from people I didn't know, wanting to add me, wanting to play with me. Like you said, challenging me and saying like, oh, I can beat you with this character or that character. And I, at the time, honestly, don't think I was well equipped to handle all that. I would take every challenge as like a personal, like, oh, dude, you're better than me. Like, sit the hell down. I want to fucking show you like the difference between you and me. And then a lot of the time, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Unfortunately enough, I think I was at a good enough level where I would just win most of the time. But I even made some friends off of messages like that. So I think it was pretty worth it. But in regards to people asking me to teach them, I got a lot of that. And I would never turn them down, or at least I don't think I did. If you're someone out there that I turned down, I'm sorry. But it had to be that way, apparently. But anytime I would try and teach someone, dude, I would go in there and I'd be like, okay, do this, do that. I do like a combo. I'm like, okay, just do what I did. And then they're like blanking because there's a lot more than just pressing the buttons. There's timing and whatnot. And it was just something so alien to me explaining that to someone and teaching them. And I also realized that when I played the game, I didn't really understand what makes things work. And by that, I mean like what kind of moves you should use, or like what tactics work better against specific characters and whatnot, and how you should switch up your approach depending on the player you're playing against. Like these are all just things that kind of just came to me through repetition. You just start kind of adapting to the people you play with and the characters you play against. And you just come to understand that. And that's when like I said, I realized like I don't really have much of a mind for teaching, but I did my best. And there were some players that, they got something good out of it. And I'm glad I was able to help them. But in hindsight, I just wanted to say, dude, like you got the shittiest teacher. So I apologize to every one of you that I tried to help. Hopefully you figured it out anyway, but I learned that wasn't for me. So yeah, that answers that.
Yeah, that's one thing I really wanted to talk to you about, the combo video, because I know that blew up on my end, so I was kind of curious what happened on your end. That's really cool to know that.
Yeah, I definitely I reaped the benefits, we'll say, of that combo video. It did not do good on I think I was probably like 13, 14 at the time. That's probably when the combo video was released. I'm 26 now. But it did a number on my ego, Blue. I was like, you give a man power and you find out what kind of person he really is. I was evil. That's what I learned.
Okay, so basically when I did the walkthroughs and then I did the combo video with you, I was pretty had a lot of gratitude for people that was watching the videos I was doing. So I was like, I want to do a tournament. And I remember your combo video and I was like, I got to get Cy in here. I got to get Fox Gino. And I was like, I want to do a tournament sign up. So tell me what happened what was it like competing in a tournament? Was that your first time? And what was it like when you won afterwards and the response you got?
Okay. Looking back, that might have actually been the first tournament I entered, funnily enough. If I did enter any others, it might have been some random one-off All-Stars chat, hey, we're just getting a bracket together. But I think that was the first legitimate tournament I signed up for, and definitely the first one I've been on in video. And dude, I won't lie, it was freaking nerve-wracking to me. I mean, you spoke about it as soon as the camera comes on, you're pressing play, and I'm like, oh shit, here's an opportunity for me to embarrass myself. Or you start second guessing how you play everything you do. But I noticed pretty quickly when it started that I was, how do I say this? That I had a pretty strong handle on the game compared to the people that I was playing with. I think at that point, I was already playing with other players that kind of on the more quiet side of the scene that really helped me level up. People like S tier, people like Pootie Tang, and I would say they played a huge role in me just getting better. And one thing that I really learned from them is that it's just a game of repetition and noticing patterns. And by that, I mean, you play against the character so many times, there's only so many surprises that can come your way. So I kind of just told myself that when I entered the tournament, dude, just play. You've been here before. You've seen this before. And if you win, sweet. If not, it is what it is. You tried. It's not the end of the world. You can join another one. It ended up going my way. If I remember correctly, I think I played with Fox Chino in the final.
Yeah, that's correct.
That I played against.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, there we go. So I remember being really nervous about that. Not just because it's a tournament final, but Fox Chino was a really, really good friend of mine. And that meant that one of us was going to have to lose. and it would be a pretty awkward call afterward. I'm not gonna lie. I'm glad I won. Fox, like, I'd rather have the awkwardness be from me winning than the other way around. Like, but dude, I remember he was such a good sport about it, and we played a bunch more games. And to be honest, like, I'm sure I lost a good amount of those games too. But here's the thing about tournaments. Here's the thing about recorded sets is that I've learned is, and this is maybe a hot take because a lot of people will be like, dude, the only thing that matters are tournament results. Like outside of that, it's just practice. It's in a way, it's like sparring. Like, yeah, like you might, like that's fair, but I like to believe that you really find out who the best players are through long, enduring sets with each other, not in a one-off tournament where there's nerves and there's like reputation on the line, because that hampers your ability to perform. I truly believe that you find out who the best really are through those long 1v1s with each other. And there would be players that I might have beaten in tournament that, you know, like I might have had like a losing record against outside of tournament or vice versa. So big ups to Fox Gino is what I'm trying to say. My homie, I miss you.
Yeah, I still remember him. As like the memories were flooding back when we used to do 2v2s, and then me and you did 2v2s, and I recorded some of those as well. Those were pretty fun.
Yeah, dude, the quick match ones, I remember that too. I'm not gonna lie, Blue. Let me tell you something. I think you actually were the reason I got to black belt for the first time on that game. And when I told you, I was like, yeah, I've never got a black belt. You were like, what? Are you serious? And I was like, yeah, dude, I swear I suck at 2v2s. And you were like, no, you thought I was like fucking with you and just like
Yeah, I did.
hustling you. And I was like, I swear, no, I've never gotten a black belt. Like, you were like, okay, we're going to get you a black belt here then. And I remember we just grinded for however long, might have been like a week or two. And then lo and behold, I was able to get there. And I'm like, okay, I'm never playing ranked again. I don't need that headache ever again. Like,
It's interesting you say that because in my mind, what the time was like, I had played against people and I was climbing with occasionally Kratos, but mostly Heihachi to get some, like, with some friends to get up there. And it was kind of like a stress reliever because quick match was like, yeah, that's great, but you want it to be competitive. Then I was getting better with Heihachi, and then I'd switch to Kratos when I would run into double Raidens or double Cats, and I'd go back to Heihachi.
oh, God,
And then it
dude.
stopped being about rank once you get black belt, and it's like, I just want good competition to, like, get better, a little bit get better. And then when I heard you haven't gotten black belt, I was like, what is this? Is Sai solo queuing in 2v2 and getting like bad EOMM or like what's going on? And I was like, we got to fix this. But honestly, you could have done it without me easily, to be honest. I just helped a little bit. But yeah, that's interesting to hear because all the good players in my mind are black belt or higher, to be honest. That was kind of weird hearing that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because like it's like you mentioned, the rank is meaningless. It's all about like your results and consistency against the other best players, right? But to me, I was like, dude, I want that sexy ass black belt. I like the 2v2s and like, I admittedly that this is a arching weakness of mine. I am just not good at team games. I don't know what it is. Like the second I have a second hand, I just sabotage them and myself, and we both end up dead. But it was with you, I was able to kind of see the other side of things and like because I've always been such a like solo 1v1 type of player that I never had the eye for 2v2. But playing with someone like you who had that experience, it gave me a second scope as to how I should approach playing. And I can't lie, like, dude, Kratos, people hate him. They hate him for a reason. He's damn good in chaotic settings. And you put in your work and knew what you were doing. So
Yeah, you were getting very good at 2v2 by the time we stopped. Remember there was like this controversial vid we had where like the people left the game. There was like Cat and Raiden. And
oh god,
do you remember that?
I remember that, I think. Yeah, they were on mic, I think, right?
That was like the first game in a long time. Like I was hearing some trash talk on the mic and I had to sit up in my chair and I was like, Sai, we can't lose this. Like
I know. I would have freaking stared at the ceiling all night with the candles lit in a dark room if I lost that shit. That's the worst thing. I don't know if you had this, Blue. Tell me if not. For someone, believe it or not, I would join the tournaments that you would put up, and I would join like some fight clubs and like maybe like a title fight here and there. I wasn't too big in entering tournaments, but I had such a competitive drive on that game. And if I ever lost to someone on and like maybe like I lost like a set or a consistent set of games, I would freaking I mean, it sounds a little unhealthy, but I would be incapable of thinking about anything but my loss to that player or character. And I would just think, like, okay, how can I make sure that never happens again? I would freaking start brainstorming. I'd be in school thinking about it, like, okay, maybe if I do this, I set him up over here, I can try that. And I think that played a big role in me improving. Tell me, did you have that too? Like, did you get those feelings?
Yeah, because you freaking brought every like top guy you could think of for each character at the time, and I was still improving. I was like facing Pootie Tang and these other characters, and in the beginning I was losing, and I was like, damn, I just want to improve because I knew what I did wrong when I watched the film enough. Because when I like look at footage, I stress test stuff I don't enjoy the experiences too. So if I see something I don't like, I see how did it happen? Why did this happen? What could have been avoided? How can I overcome that? What are the strategies to test to make sure that doesn't happen? Go out there, test them, see what works, find the solution, improve, and make sure that doesn't happen again. And of course, something else will come up and the pattern repeats, and that's how you get better. At least that's what I think. And then I look at the old footage and I'm like, man, I would like to go back in time and fix that result right there. Because I could.
It's like if I had the mind now.
Because what was good back then is not good now. But that was good back then. And I was like, that's how you improve. You just keep at it. But some people like improve faster than others. But as long as you keep improving, you can still reach the result you want. Yeah.
Yeah, so. Definitely. And honestly, that takes a lot of humility. Dude, that's the number one thing. And after All-Stars, I played a couple other games and got, at a level where I was proud in those games too. And the number one thing, the hardest thing for me to do, you mentioned you did, even in All-Stars, was watch my losses. It was so painful. I'm like, oh God, no, this is the part where he embarrasses me. Like, this is the part where I choke. This is where I dropped that combo. This is where I was like a total freaking doofus. So, but dude, it's in those moments. Like, if you don't know what to fix, you're never going to get better. It's so important. It's like it's rewatching tape. So you had a handle on that pretty early.
Yeah, because some people learn from messing up enough times, and that doesn't work for me. I need to understand like the system, how it happened. It's not a mystery. It's on the footage, and you eventually figure it out. So it's tough to watch your losses, but if you don't accept the result, then you can't change or improve. Because if you stay in denial, oh, that was a fluke, and it wasn't, then you're not going to improve. But yeah, you're right. It's definitely hard to watch those losses, especially since I was doing 1v1s. I was posting all of them, so I was like, I can't lose the next one.
Holy! I would have been on freaking like what's the word? Red alert. I'd be paranoid if I was you. Like, oh shit, what freaking random guy's gonna message me today? He's like some sleeper godlike player that no one knows about. They're like, dude, you lost to this guy. I'm like, I swear he's one of the best players. Just no one knows him yet. But that was the thing. And one of my favorite parts about the community were those players that are like, like they don't have much of a name and they're just these sleepers in the community that maybe don't want to be recognized or maybe don't want to join tournaments. And when you run into one of those guys, I'm like, okay, this person's my secret weapon. I gotta say, there was a player like that named Gamal12. He was pretty involved in like just the scene in terms of how much he knew about it, but he would never enter anything. In fact, I don't think he's ever entered any tournament, not on YouTube, not on Twitch with Super Sony Bros, but he was one of my main training partners. And he was so freaking good. Like, I always say that he was better than me, and other players that know me or get mad at me are like, dude, stop telling us this random guy was that good. I'm like, I swear he really was. But why I call him a secret weapon is that they give you a scope and approach that probably no other player has. Because, I mean, people make fun of it a lot, like Raiden and whatnot, or Drake, even Cole, right? Like, these characters can look very samey, but when you play at a high enough level, you can, like, instantly differentiate. Like, oh, this is BC's Raiden from, in this case, Gamal's Raiden. And because I got so much experience with that character, I would not have trouble playing against them. And anytime I would, I'd be like, oh, okay, like, let me kick back over here and understand what's going on. And even that was something really fun. I felt like All-Stars reached a point where we just knew so much about the game that any lick of new tech or play style from a character would be so fucking exciting to jump into. And it's like it resets the community back. And I just wish the game not ran long enough. I'm going to just voice one more opinion. I'm not too big a fan of the final patch of All-Stars. A lot of people aren't. I know there's people that enjoy it, but for me, it really just killed a lot of the fun the game had. And yeah, it's also because I'm just salty as fuck Cole got nerfed. I'm pretty shameless about that. He's still really good, but I just miss that freedom that I had prior. And because the patch kind of drove away all the new players or the old players, I felt it just was the nail in the coffin that ended the game. The game sort of died before we even got the servers shut down. So it was unfortunate. I was curious how you felt about the last patch too.
At first, I didn't like it as well. There was some changes to the characters I used. I didn't know they changed that much for Cole. I remember I posted the video showing all the changes, but I was just trying to get them out quickly because I wanted to do an update like, hey, this new changes that happen, and that's unfortunate. That's what happened to good Cole. I think.
Oh no! I got to make one thing clear. Cole was still like S tier, top tier, still one of the best characters. It's just those minor changes. The best way I can describe what I disliked about the final patch is that it felt like it didn't make a bunch of characters better. It made everyone a little worse. And that's what killed the game for me is like, oh, okay, we're just playing like a All-Stars at 1.5 speed now. Or no, 0.5 speed now. Like, it was, I'm not going to get into the semantics about the balance of the overall game. It felt like a lot of the characters got slightly worse, slightly better. And then some characters were just absolutely neutered. And then characters like Jack that went from like a piece of crap to, in my opinion, a little bit brain dead, right? I got respect for a certain couple Jack players. One of them was my close buddy, but I fucking hate that character. He drove me insane. And don't even get me started on Narco. It could be a whole separate video where I forget bitch about some of the characters that I had to deal with in that last patch. But Cole was not bad. I don't want that to be misinterpreted as me crying about him sucking. It just felt like, his wings slightly got clipped. He could still fly, but it's at a slower rate now.
Okay, I can see what you mean now.
Yeah.
I think I got maybe...
Actually, Go ahead. You were saying something about how you felt about your character and whatnot and his change. Like you overall were fine with it this time, I think.
I felt like there was some freedom lost. It was like, but in my mind, it was like some characters needed to be nerfed, but some characters that didn't need to be nerfed got nerfed as well. At some point, I played long enough that I got used to it, and I kind of forget how it was before. More that it was fluid, and you could do more combos. But
yeah.
Like, I played the game so much, even after the patch. I mean, I didn't like it, but then at some point, you start to forget about it. But that's my experience, though.
That's one thing. Sure. Yeah, everyone's going to have their preference. I've seen people say, like, the game died before 1.11 even, right? But I would say that was my sweet spot. The point of the game I enjoyed the most. And I feel like the point of the game that, personally, in my opinion, had the highest level, had the highest meta, because I recall correctly, it's the patch that stayed the longest outside of the final patch, obviously. And it had I think, for size of player base and length of time that it stuck around, we were able to dig into the most. And that's where the game was just at its strongest in general.
There was one where I was doing I remember you lost one of the tournaments against like a fat princess. Do you remember that? And then there was a point where you lost against the fat princess, and then I was like, I never told you this, but in my mind I was like, oh, okay, this is actually good because if you would have won, then I couldn't do the champion tournament that I wanted to do. And I was like, Sai, just hold off on this. And then me do the champion tournament. And I didn't want to tell anybody because in my mind it sounded like too crazy. And then after the 8 tournaments, I remember like I just posted the trailer. Like I didn't even ask anybody. I was like, I want this to happen so bad. And then so like when that champion trailer dropped and I didn't even ask, what was your reaction? I was like, oh, this all the champions will do a tournament. You're going to face champions now.
Yeah, dude. Okay. So my reaction to that, I was like, holy shit. Like, how'd he come up with that idea? That was my first thought. I was like, dude, that's actually pretty sweet. And it gave me like a chance of redemption, right? Like you mentioned, my loss to the Fat Princess player whose name I can't remember now, but I vividly do remember losing, right? And that, I won't lie, man, like that really stung me at the time. Like I don't remember what I may have said and commentated in that tournament, but I guarantee you that like stuck with me for a while. And I probably went ahead and played with more Fat Princess players. If I remember correctly, I mean, looking back, I even remember the cause of my loss. And it's pretty like, to me, looking back at it now, I'm like, really, like, this is what you lost to? Like, you couldn't adapt to this? It was Fat Princess's aerial, I don't even remember what the notations were. Aerial neutral 1, pretty much her wand attack that just slams you down. And it comes out super quick. It's got a lot of startup. And that combined with whatever fire zoning and approach, I hadn't seen that before. And I couldn't adapt mid-game and just kept making the same stupid mistake. I think I was throwing out too many like blank tethers, which are wildly punishable in front of that. And Fat Princess will exploit it if it's a good enough player. And that I would say was a pretty big eye opener, because there was a point where I was playing in your tournaments where I talk about the ego again, like being a kid. I was like, oh, dude, I'm the shit. Like I can fucking beat anyone. I keep getting better. Like there's no way there's someone out there now that can, work me or embarrass me on this game. But there's always a bigger fish. There's always someone you can come across, and that was a really important, like, humbling experience. Not because that was my first time losing. Of course, I've lost a million times, right? But it was the first time I lost in the public eye, right? Like it showed like that there are other players still here in this scene that I have like a long ways to come and adapt to, and there's a lot of room for improvement. So it was a big motivator. And that Tournament of Champions was like the vessel for that motivation. I was like, okay, finally I have a chance at freaking redeeming that loss, coming back better, and just showcasing myself in a more, I don't know, dominant fashion. And I know it's not, the number one thing isn't like proving to others that you're the best and whatnot. But to me, that was super important as a kid. Looking back, I am really proud of that, because it showed that something really mattered to me. And deep down, I think I'm happy that I lost, because it made for a better storyline, I guess, and it made me improve in a way that I wouldn't have. I would have probably just plateaued had that not happened. So I appreciate you for even setting that up and letting me know.
I like hearing your thoughts more like not really associated to the tournaments that I did, but like kind of what happened afterwards and your thoughts. So let me go after this question here and then stuff to the better questions. So the one here is, what was it like competing in that champions tournament? And then the moment when you won it all, because all these champions, all of them thought they were going to win. And then I got better questions after that, but start with that.
Okay. How did it feel going into the champion tournament? Dude, for some reason, no, I know exactly the reason. I came into that so confident. I'm glad that you said every other champion thought they were going to win, because I was convinced that I was actually going to win. And that sounds very vain. It's because I am vain. And I just knew there was no shot I was losing. I knew I wanted it so much more than everyone else. I knew I played so much more than everyone else. And because I played so much and prepped so much in advance for that, and like by that point, I'm pretty sure I dug deeper into the community. There were like 2 All-Stars communities, there was the YouTube side and there was the Twitch side. And I was really getting active in the Twitch side, not necessarily like joining a bunch of tournaments, but hopping in the fight clubs, messaging the high level players on that end of the spectrum, and getting in a ton of games with them. And you got to remember, like, the YouTube side was the bigger side of the community. It was, like I said, the more mainstream side, and there were great players in there. But I would say that the Twitch side had the overall stronger base. These guys were like the sweatiest, like playing all day long sets with each other. There were definitely some that like wouldn't really play any sets because they wanted to like save their shock factor or their like techniques for tournaments, what I get. But that's where I got so many hours in and met players like Fluffy himself, who I'm pretty sure later won one of your tournaments, who's one of the best players on this game. I played, like I mentioned, with S Tier and Pooty. That's how I met them, was through that side of the community. My friend Fumble This introduced me to Pooty, and we all just dove into that side of the community together. And that's where I would say the skill level went way up. And because I got so much exposure, so many hours in there, in the Tournament of Champions, I was like, I know I got this. Like, I seriously doubted the opposition so much. And maybe that was foolish. Like, that is also stupid to come in that confident, I would say. But I just, in my mind, I had no doubt. And, you know, it worked out for me. I ended up winning. And you mentioned everyone else was convinced they were going to win. That made me pretty freaking happy. I'm not going to lie. Because I'd way rather them come in with the same confidence, because winning would feel that much better.
Yeah, because I interact with everybody. Like, I talk with everybody individually behind the scenes, like what the tournament's like, what's going to happen if you win or lose. And, you know, if you don't win, it's okay. Like, you're not a loser. You can always try again. Everyone's getting better. Because there's some people where they lost and they just like, I talked to them like a week later and they're still down about it. And I'm like, hey, it's like, people forgot about that, I'm sure. You can always try again. But I'm sure, like, if you never joined before, it's pretty devastating. So that's understandable. And that's cool hearing that practice that you got. Didn't know that you were playing that much prior to that. Because there was like a time where like I was getting so like busy with these tournaments. There were so many people wanting to join, and I was trying to give people fair shots that me and you started playing less and less. And then you came back and you were like still improving. And I was like, oh, that makes sense now, because you were playing, well, he said the sweaty side of the community.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's funny you said that.
The real gremlins of the game.
Because I don't know, from my perspective, I never really saw, like, I just saw that I was people wanting to join tournaments, and I just wanted to keep giving back because they really supported when I was doing the walkthroughs and stuff. And then it was really cool seeing people have their, like, rivalries show up and redemptions and everybody wanting to win. And I mean, that was cool to see, because I feel like I kind of like put a stage and everybody did the work. They did their own thing, and it was cool to witness that. But it was like interesting hearing your perspective on that, because like I don't know a lot of the stuff you did to get like what your thoughts are, because everybody I talked to, oh, I got this. Oh yeah, I'm winning today. And I was like, I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm like, well, that's going to be cool to see. But good luck out there. Because I don't want to be biased and be like, yo, sorry, so-and-so is going to win. And honestly, I didn't know who was going to win, but I was like, probably Psy, but I don't know. Raiden players are, people say raise these rodents for a reason. These level ones are like super cheesy, you know?
Oh my God, I get nightmares still from that bullshit, dude. Freaking left and right, I got hit up once, flipped over, you're mine. And I'm done, I'm cooked.
I remember facing Raiden. Yeah, I remember facing Raidens that make one wrong forward square or miss a grab on a Raiden. I'm dead.
Or like the worst thing ever. I don't know if this happened. This happened to me with a bunch of characters, but with a Raiden, if you made this mistake, you died. He would like counter, and then like you know how he's punishable after his counter. You go to attack him, but he counters again and then freaking kills you. That was the most annoying shit. I'm like, dude, that you had to kill me in the flukiest way, dude. He can still do that after the patch. That character was always a bane in my existence, but I don't know. I had a lot of fun playing against him. Maybe because in my mind, I was like, oh, he's supposed to be good Cole's rival. That makes you want to whoop his ass even more. And he was just a super common character. So I was able to get in a lot of working hours against it because of that. So I'm glad you remembered the horrors that character put everyone through.
I have a pretty good memory because that was like a good time for me back then. Like I remember everything, like the evolution of characters and discoveries, and the first time the grab confirm was like found out with Raiden, and like people were saying ban Raiden, ban Cat.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
God,
dude, I have people that want to join that been waiting for a while to use these characters, and I was like, if 2 people win with the character, then I'll ban them for the rest of the tournaments. I think that was good because we don't want to have 8 Raidens in a tournament. That would not be good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would stick off of that shit. ASAP, I'm like, okay. I'd rather someone walk in on me doing some freaking embarrassing shit. I don't know how PG I gotta keep this, but you can paint the picture with your own head.
You bring like memories like when you saw talk about Super Sony Bros and how sweaty it was, because I remember I was doing the tournaments. Make it really quick because I want to hear more from you, but it was like I saw the casual community, and then I was doing my thing, and then there was a competitive community I would call like Super Sony Bros, and like I didn't really consider like what I was doing like my community, but it was like kind of like it was growing whatever it was. And it was interesting because usually there's casual and then competitive, but there was like casual and then what I was doing and then like competitive. And then they started conflicting because I was starting to get messages from like people in the comments and people from Super Sony Bros. Hey, you're not doing best of 3. Hey, you should do 3 stock. Hey, the large stage isn't good. Should be short stage. And then
like practice medium and whatnot. Yeah, that was how they played it. It was something I had to adjust to. So yeah.
Then I was like, I mean, I understand where they're coming from, but I'm like, I'm giving back to like the people that were supporting me and people that just like the game in general. So it's like a mixture of both. I'm not there to conform everything for quote unquote pro like set requirements or
like
some
approach. Yeah.
Like I just did something I think is fun, fair. I thought it was fair 5 stock. I could have done best of 3, but like the tournaments alone with one set was like one match was 40 minutes. I don't think people want to watch like a 2-hour or like 1 hour 50 minute or something like that. So I was like, I think this is fine. I'm not really getting complaints. I actually talked with Devin and I was like, I don't agree, but I appreciate what you're doing, but I'm going to do my thing. But I like what you're doing. And I actually joined a couple of his like fight clubs. And yeah, it was sweaty over there. Like I had to sit up in my chair. I thought they were going to be like, maybe one's good. And I was like, dude, they're pretty sweaty. Like Sai said.
Yeah, no. Trust me. Like so you've been to that side of the community. I'm sure you noticed immediately like, whoa, this is legit. Like these guys are serious, you know?
Yeah, I got my wins in there and then I lost to Raiden a couple times and I was like, oh, I got to go back with Raiden. And then I was like, oh, I'm doing a tournament tomorrow. What am I thinking later? And then of course, when I try to come back, they stopped. But at some point they stopped. But yeah, glad you mentioned that because I was going to ask you, after you won like my tournament, champion tournament, this is like the more interesting one. I noticed you were like on Fight Club and then Super Sony Bros. What was it like going into that platforms when people knew that you were like a good Cole and you were kind of already gaining like, I would say...
we use the word infamy.
Yeah, we could use that. As like top Cole, possibly the best Cole, because there was people arguing. It was like arguable that you could be the best. I thought you were, but I mean, it's not really up to one person to say. It's kind of like a consensus, or I don't know if that even matters to say that. But yeah, you came in there with a reputation, I would say. What was it like when you were facing like other good Cole players, and then people facing you saying, "Oh, are you good?" or "You're going to casual player only," and you kind of, like, yeah. And you kind of went into that a little bit, but it'd be cool to hear a little bit more.
So, yeah, when I came into Fight Club, I came in super, super confident. And here, let's talk about our losses. I'm going to talk about my worst loss of all time right now. It was on Fight Club, and you can find the video too. It was against a Big Daddy player named Domino SNK, who turned out to be a pretty cool guy. I spoke to him a number of times. and he freaking worked me so bad. It was my first Fight Club match. Like I said, I came in super confident. I came in with a lot of people knowing who I was. And before I entered that Fight Club, I actually ran a pretty long set with Devin. And I did well. Like we had good games, right? So I was like, oh, okay, I definitely belong here, is what I was looking at it as. And I came in, and I'm not even joking. I don't even think I got a level 1. I wasn't even nervous like that, like because I'd already played on video on your tournament. So I was like, I've already had exposure and whatnot. Like I've seen this before. Like, yeah, obviously there's always a level of nerves when you're playing in front of people, but there was no excuse. He just completely and utterly outplayed me. And I had never seen a Big Daddy that good before. Good Cole has a super favorable matchup against Big Daddy, by the way, so I can't even be like, oh, that's why I lost. No, he just knew how to beat me. He knew the character so well, and the reasons that he played against another Good Cole quite a bit, I'm pretty sure at least, named Visionary 2012, who is another one of those Good Cole players that people tout as like, the best or at least one of the best. And that guy just had such a great mind for the game, dude. He really had a strong understanding of so many of the characters, and that's what really set him apart, I would say, is that just his knowledge and grasp on the game. But on the subject of me going into Fight Club, it was another one of those important losses for me. And even after I lost, like, yeah, there were a lot of people like, oh, you see, he's a fraud. Like, he's not that good. Like, the YouTube side doesn't know what they're doing. Like, this is the legit part of the community. But there were also other players that I started playing with from the Twitch side, the Super Sony Bro side, whatever you want to call it, that were like, no, man, that was a one-off. Like, there's really more to this guy. And I played more and more, and I would join a lot of those fight clubs, and I had much more favorable matches and whatnot. Like playing with other good Coles, I got to meet Marcus Soul, like I mentioned, or I didn't mention him. Marcus Soul, another amazing good Cole player. I got to meet Visionary, another amazing good Cole player. And seeing their perspective, I would say, helped me level up a lot. I don't think we played very similarly, but still kind of taking things that they would do and implementing it into my own game and kind of giving what I knew to them, I'd say it helped all of us improve a good bit. And when I came back after that, those trainings and whatnot, and joined fight clubs, luckily it went well. I got a good amount of win streaks, and I kind of redeemed my image in the community. And then I think most people probably started putting me in those same conversations again of like one of, if not the best. That mattered so much to me, by the way. At that age, genuinely, it was like my biggest driver. I wanted to be recognized as like the Cole player. I didn't want to be one of the best. I didn't want to be like just another name in the hat. I wanted to be the guy. But I noticed that the better I got at the game, the less I started caring about it. And it was super cool to be recognized and whatnot. But really, the only thing that started mattering to me toward the end was just playing with the other best players and proving to myself that I could hang with them, if not beat them. And I'd like to believe I did eventually reach that point. So it was worth it. The best, it's always going to be subjective, right? If someone asks me who the best Parappa is, I might say Red X. You ask someone else, he might say Crash or Smash and Crash, right? It's a varying thing. And I eventually learned like you're never going to be able to please everyone, and just play and get better. If someone calls you the best, cool. If not, that's also fine. It's not the end of the world.
Sounds to me like you proved to yourself you were good, you were great. Now you want to keep improving. It's not a matter of proving you're a good player. That's why I think you were saying that stuff, it was good and all, but just playing against other top players and improving, like you said, that makes sense. The more I think about it, it's cool to hear you had a goal of being the cool player. Because I think at some point, every person that becomes really good at some character, they want to be the best of that character. So that's a good goal to have. I remember there's like a lot of matches on YouTube where you're facing like mirror matches and stuff. And I remember the last one I remember watching was like you and Tekken Champ. And you won pretty well in that one. And then it was you and Menja. And it was, I don't know, it's never boring watching like good Cole, like mirrors.
The Cole mirror.
Yeah.
That's the mirror that everyone likes. except the two guys playing in it. Like, the audience loves that shit. We're like, oh my god, put me out of my misery. Like, there's too much blue on the screen right now. Man, all these exploding grenades, these friggin' wires and electricity popping out. It's like mixing up whose grenade is whose, just eating shit because of it. It was ridiculous, but I will say those are good sets. Man, that because I wanted to be like the Cole player, like I said, I would get so freaking nervous doing Cole mirrors, and I would choke and whatnot in ways I just don't think I would with other matchups. And that's one thing I thought was the best good Cole, or not even good Cole, the best with any character is the one that can beat any other person with that character. Meaning, let's say there's the 5 most well-regarded good Cole players. If they all play each other, the one that beats the others the most is the best player. And that isn't necessarily true, is what I found out. I will say, if one person beats the others more, it is indicative of their skill level. And you can definitely make an argument that he may be the best of the bunch. But I think that the best with a character, if that even exists at some level, is the one that does the most against the whole cast, right? Is able to have the best results against the most characters. The one that can, I mentioned earlier, Visionary 2012, he was a player like that, where his knowledge of the game really, I would say, exceeded even his knowledge of good Cole. And that's what made him so good at exploiting other characters and winning, is just because he knew the right tools for each situation in a way that, someone like me, like I was more like focusing on the Oki and the flash and I want to do some cool shit and like look slick while I do it. Like I think I may have had like a better grasp on Cole, but his grasp on the game was able to make him stand out in a way that I couldn't, but also vice versa. There were things that I could do that he couldn't do as well. And it's just a trade-off of what matters and what matchup and what each person watching values as well.
Your mindset on, I think that's interesting what you said. You said, like, just because someone is best at their mirror match doesn't mean that they're the best overall. So how they can beat the rest of the cast. It's something I think a lot of people don't even think about. They assume that they just win at the Cole mirrors, they're the best, not the rest of the cast. I think it's a good mixture if you do both, but I think the cast is more important, I think that's what you're leaning towards.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, the mirror match is indicative of skill. Like, it would be foolish to say, like, oh, it means nothing. Like, no, absolutely not. You both have the same exact tools. You have all the same options. It is telling how the mirror goes. But at the end of the day, what matters more is the entire scope, like you said. That's just one matchup. There's a whole other set of characters and toolkits that you have to be able to deal with. And that versatility is what matters most, in my opinion.
All right, I'm going to start off. I think I was saying, I remember reading the comments and, like, I wasn't saying anything, and it was just coming up organically. People were calling you, like, the best good Cole in the world. And then I think at one point we were doing like a tag, and then you said that on the mic, and then people started quoting it even more. Don't know if you remember that.
Wait, do you remember what the quote was? I'm not sure.
I'm the best good Cole in the world, something like that. And people started quoting it, and then they put the little dash, and then said "Psy" because your name's kind of long.
Yeah. They didn't say the whole thing. God, that's so freaking. I mean, I like to say that's embarrassing, but no, I mean, it puts a smile on my face. I was a cheeky kid. I still have a lot of like rascal in me. I've grown past the point, and I understand that a lot of that stuff is meaningless. But I don't know. I had a lot of fun with that. It was a blast to me to get better at the game, have an attitude about it too. A lot of people liked it, a lot of people didn't like it, but it was authentic to who I was. So.
Yeah, as long as you're true to yourself and you really believe that, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And if they do, then you're always up for a 1v1 set. So, like,
exactly.
Once I brought that up, it was like, once people started calling you like the best good Cole, like, people were saying, I gotta say something. He's a one trick. That's it. He's a one trick. And then you came back from another tournament. I'm like, oh, I wonder if Sai can do it again with Good Cole. People are getting better with other characters. And then you came as Nathan, and I was like, is he throwing or like? I'm not gonna say nothing because like. And then you went
like,
in
what
there.
the hell is he doing?
And then
Yeah,
you
like,
you introduced me to Nightmare prior to that, and then you were like, oh, I should put Nightmare on the other side of the bracket. So I can at least have two good players in the tournament. Because I learned really quickly, if you don't put at least one or two, then the tournament might not end up well. So you give the black sheep, as I call them, the randoms, like good ones to appear organically, but at least you know there's going to be some good matches. And then there were some good players in that match, and then you guys met each other, and then you won. It was close, though. It was like you won by one stock, but you won with Nathan Drake. So what was it like when people were calling you a one trick, and then you won with Nathan Drake? What was like going through your mind after that?
I am not gonna lie. That's looking back, I laugh a lot about that. When I picked up Drake, I just think Drake is cool. He was fun. He was kind of like a sub that I picked up for 2v2s because I just felt he was a stronger character for 2v2 than Good Cole was. Yeah, yeah. And I started playing him for that. I actually play a lot of the cats, funny enough. I just wouldn't play them on stream because on stream or on tape, I'm like, oh, I don't want to lose, like mess up my streak bet or whatever. So I always chose Cole. But because that tournament, I actually think one of the reasons I chose Drake wasn't just because of the one trick pony thing. It was also because Nightmare didn't choose Cat. Am I not? I'm not wrong about that, right? I think he chose a different character as well.
It was Nathan Muir at the end.
Yeah, oh, look at that. So he also had a Drake, and we both pulled him out. And I was like, I don't want to pick Cole and just, if I end up playing against Nightmare, play against his Drake when he's not playing his main. It's a little unfair. So I came into that, like I said, I was pretty confident I was going to win. I reached a point as a player where I could play a lot of the casts that are reasonably high level, or at least the characters that I subbed. And I mean, dude, yeah, it is a sub, but Drake is not rocket science. he's an easy enough character to grasp. And I was like, I'm gonna go in with this character. I want to do a cool kill confirm where I throw like a grenade up in the air, then like do like a little swinging
One thing I want to add in there is I was watching one of the videos when I was thinking about asking you about this, and then I was reading the comments, and someone said, and you even said in the tournament, the best way to beat Raiden is throw a bunch of grenades and run away. And I was like, dude, that's funny, but it's true.
Yeah, like, dude, the best way to beat that guy is to get the fuck out of there. Like, just don't be near him. Like, if you're close to that character, that's exactly where he wants you to be. That's where he grabs you. That's where he freaking flip kicks you. And if you can just play outside of his range, that's where he'll struggle the most. And Drake was good at exploiting that. And I was confident, but I didn't really think about like winning, if that makes sense. I was like, oh, whatever, I'm gonna play Drake. Whatever gets put in front of me, I'll deal with. And I was able to get the win. I was like, okay, thank God. That could have been a humiliation ritual if I lost early. And people would be like, okay, you can't do shit else aside from Good Cole. I'm glad it went my way. If it didn't, it wouldn't have been the end of the world. But luck was on my side again, I like to think.
I was like, where did he put this work in with Drake? Because I remember he threw a bomb in the first match against a Sweet Tooth, and then you did the jump AK, and then they got hit with the bomb, and then you did like your level 1 when the confirmed. Do you remember that?
Oh my God, dude. Yeah. That shit, I'm not going to lie, I was feeling myself. That's what I was actually bringing up. I wanted to land that so badly. And if you go back and rewatch that tournament, I'm sure people can tell I was fishing for it, but since no one saw that before, probably, at least on video, they were like, whoa, what is that Drake KC? I learned that, and I don't know if you'll remember him, but a lot of people that played the game will probably remember a player named Houston. He was an Isaac player, but before he mained Isaac, he mained Drake. He was a really, really good player with both characters. I would say more so with Isaac, but that was one of the confirms he showed me with Drake, and I was like, dude, like, what are you freaking doing, voodoo magic? How did you come up with this? I stole it, and I was able to land it on stream, and I had people say, like, dude, that confirmed you made. I was like, no, don't give me the credit. That was all Houston. So, so I doubt he'll ever see this video, to be honest. I mean, who knows? Maybe he might. But looking back, if you see that confirmed, it wasn't me. I wish it was. It was Houston, the Isaac player.
and I taught it to him.
Yeah, that's true.
Is there anything you would like to talk about we haven't talked about yet? Do you think would be worth talking about before I come up with these like final questions?
Okay, yeah, actually, I do want to talk about one thing. And this is a little like personal and kind of mushy, but I'm really, really glad I was able to play PlayStation All-Stars. Not just because it taught me a lot in just improving at something, putting in time and getting better, but I was able to meet like so many great friends because of it, who I still talk to this day. And I'm glad you reconnected after a really long time. I felt like speaking to you felt really natural, and it didn't feel awkward. It felt like we just picked up where we left off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I feel that way. Yeah. I feel that way about so many different friends and bonds that I had on this game. Like two of my buddies right here, Fluffy and Scrub. They're both people that I met on that game. These guys are like my best buddies. I talk to them every day, every other day. Like Donald's a little bit fake, so maybe not that often. But it's the friendships suck, and there's so many other players like Itwift or Worf, or I want to take a second and acknowledge one of my buddies named Nasty Salad was his name, and I think he changed his name to. I know he changed his name to Lux, but it was some variation of the name. Who recently just passed away. He was a pretty, jokes aside, infamous person in the community. A lot of people didn't like him.
He was not well received.
He was, yeah, he wasn't, but you know, he was a good freaking guy. He was super, super funny. Just a one of a kind person that not many people got too close to and got to know. And the reason I brought him up is because he recently just passed away on May 8th. And it's been really sad for our whole friend group. We've been missing him a lot. And like if anyone that knew him in the past and remembers that name, like if you can just pass on the news and just take a second to remember him, because he was such a wonderful person when you really got to know him. And I wouldn't want to do this video without at least acknowledging him and all the good times that we had. So thank you for at least giving me a platform to talk about him for a second.
Thanks for like talking about that. I think it's something that someone should talk about. This is like might be I'm really curious from this one. When the servers were finally shutting down, when did you realize it was time to step away? And was there a specific moment you thought, all right, this is it?
I'm glad you bring that up, actually, because I when the servers shut down, I'd already stopped playing the game. So a lot of the realization of, oh man, this is it, that a lot of other players had, I had that a little sooner. There came a point where I just lost all drive to continue playing. Like the tournaments were, focused enough. Don't get me wrong, some of the best players still played around in there, like Moses, Fluffy, but I just couldn't muster up the motivation to keep going. My friend Mineshaft, by the way, Anthony, I didn't forget you, bro. I don't like you, but I I just lost the drive. I noticed that I just kept playing because I had so much fun playing with my buddies, and I realized then that I just don't love this game anymore. I just love the friends that I have with, and as corny as that fucking sounds, it was literally a friends I made along the way sort of situation for me. And as soon as I realized that I don't really enjoy the game much, I just stepped away and continued talking with my friends. But it was a sad realization. It felt like I was putting down a dog that I loved for so many years, but he couldn't like go on living without suffering anymore. That's how I felt about All Stars. But I would say that was probably a year before the game even shut down. I came to that conclusion, and I was able to process the actual shutdown pretty well. Funny enough, I got my friend Mineshaft, who I just spoke about, I didn't get him to. He started his own tournament because he wanted to kind of go out, like at least with one big tournament where a lot of players that would play the game would come back for just one last hoorah. And I really didn't want to join. I'm not going to lie. I told Anthony, I was like, dude, no, I'm not who I once was. Like I'm washed. Like there's no point. But he was like, come on, just play it for the game's sake. Like what's gonna happen? And I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm overthinking it. I came in and I lost to I have no idea what his name was. He was like he claimed to be like the best like Raiden from like Nigeria or something. I don't know what. It was like some absurdly weird claim, and I was like, "Nice, dude." And I ended up losing, and it was what I realized that the game didn't mean much to me anymore. Is that the whole match, and Donald was there, or Scrub is his name, with me. I was just dying in laughter at the goofy ways that everything was unfolding, the hits that I was getting hit by, that maybe were hitting him. It really didn't bother me. Like I think that was the first or second set in the tournament. I realized that like I was really pretty much over the game because I was able to laugh at that. Now, if I was more active or closer to my prime, would I have won? Probably. But if I had lost, I would not have been able to laugh about it. I would have had like 2 sleepless nights, and then I would have went back to the drawing board. So that was the eye opener for me.
So one thing I was going to tell you is, I think I asked you the questions that I wanted. So I was going to, before I stopped like recording, I was going to tell you that it'd be cool to get some insight from your friends here when they first heard about you and then met you, and then we can cut it from there. I think that'll be the final thing. If that's
Cool.
If you guys are down with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm really curious, like when I heard you and Fluffy were friends, I thought that was really cool. Because I'm friends with a lot of people, and then sometimes like I invite them in the past in like voice chat or in game, and they don't talk to each other, and like they're not friends. And I was like, oh, I just assumed they were. So it was like, that's cool because you guys are friends. Because there's some people I'm friends with, and it's all good when we're together. But if I leave, then they don't like
silence.
Yeah. And sometimes it's like vice versa, not just like with me, it's like vice versa. So I was like, oh, that's cool. Because I was like, once I heard Fluffy can get on here, I'll be like, oh, I'd really like to hear some stuff you'd have to say. But I wanted to hear from you first. But yeah, I think it'd be cool to hear from Fluffy. Because it was funny when I was at the offline, and I remember you told me honestly, you're like, who is this kid doing tournaments? I could beat all these guys. These guys they're not good. Like, then you went in there and dominated. And I mean, I didn't see anything wrong. Like, if you say you're good and you win, then, I mean, you prove it. I'm not going to say, oh, I hate how Fluffy is confident. I'm not going to admit anything. Kind of like how you're saying someone ruffles your feathers or something. I just saw, like, clean wins, and I'm like, dude, he won. There's nothing really to hate on that. Like, beat him if you don't like it, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, I am curious what these two have to say about me. So just let us know when it goes rolling, when you ask whatever you ask them.
Okay.
I do not like this guy.
So I'll ask 2 questions, and then you guys can say whatever you want after that. So just so we have some like something to go off of. So like when you first hear about Sai, and your thoughts on is his skill legitimate, or what were your first thoughts? Because I think he kind of blew up at some point, and I think everyone wanted to, like, not everyone, but a lot of people wanted to challenge him. See, he's like a fraud, or is he really good? So I was kind of curious.
I was never that competitive in the game, so I didn't really have an ego coming into it. I honestly don't really remember my first thoughts on him, to be honest. But I thought he was a cool player, and I thought he was sick. So I was a fan, honestly. I was like, damn, this dude's nasty. And I don't remember. I think we met through like some mutual friends. Did we meet through S tier?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did.
So S tier was my home. Like, I wasn't that good at the game, actually. I didn't really I wasn't into the competitive stuff like that. I just wanted to do some cool combos. So that's what I did. And yeah, I had a buddy that was super big into the competitive side of things, and he introduced me to a lot of.
Yeah. He was crazy.
Yeah. So he introduced me to a lot of really good players. And yeah, I don't really remember our first interaction, but I think if anything, he probably found me kind of annoying initially. But I don't know. We just, I'm gonna be straight
That's
up. I was
insane.
annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hated this guy. Like, I still don't like him, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. I switched up as well
Yeah,
eventually.
yeah, he's the fake friend now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the fake one.
But honestly, I appreciate how honest of an answer that was. I'm glad you didn't just make some stuff up. So, okay,
Yeah.
I am curious about one thing though.
What's up?
Before you played with me, oh man, you guess you wouldn't remember. Now you didn't really know the community too well. I was curious if after having talked to you, or what you expected I'd be like.
Yeah, I don't remember honestly.
Because I think you were exactly what I thought you would be. But I'd say you changed a good bit since then, in a good way. So yeah, it's not something I ever asked any of my friends, and I'm glad you asked that question, Blue. Ed, if you want to take the lead now.
Um, the problem is All Stars came out in 2012. That was about 14 years ago. I don't know. I don't remember exactly how we met. I just remember specific moments. The things that I can remember was probably I either had to do one of these scenarios is maybe it was the combo video on YouTube, or maybe it was Fight Club, or there was one time there I used to hang out with Gamal and them, like Gamal and Pooty, and one time I joined a lobby that you guys had hosted, and we all just started playing, and I remember it came a point where I was consistently joining those lobbies with you guys, and we would just run a bunch of 1v1s. But from my recollection, I also remember there was like three notable Cole players, right? For each character, there was always the top two, the top one, the top three. That was just different from the rest. They were like notorious. And for the Cole players, it was Visionary, Marcus, and it was the original Psy. So I honestly don't remember when I first heard of Psy, but when I'm asked those questions, those things are the first thing to pop into my head. And yeah, I just knew he was a good co-player. He was one of the best, and he was definitely someone that I wanted to play against. But I think we had a 1v1, and he ended up beating me up because I might have messaged him, and I was like, well, let's 1v1, and he straight up just schooled me in those ones. And this was like when I first started getting into the scene, but I realized he was a great player, and he was definitely someone that I really wanted to beat badly in the game, because I knew he was someone that was praised and regarded to be one of the elite top players back in the day. Um,
Blushing,
yeah,
blushing,
yeah,
dude.
but he was my first impression of him is this guy is cool, and he's humble and he's nice, and this is someone that I can get along with easily because they don't have like an ego. They don't think I'm bad. They were one of the few top players that actually had acknowledged me early on in my All Stars career. But yeah, I think that answers the question of first impression.
That's
I'm
that's
moved.
cool to hear. Because I'm kind of curious how you guys first met and like how that came up. Because at some point, everybody hears other players, and then you play with them, and then you become friends with them. So that's
Yeah, it's such a blur because we've been friends for so long, and I feel like my memory is not the greatest. He has a better memory than me, so
Yeah,
I'm not sure
I
how
remember how
we.
we met. I can say it's a pretty ridiculous story. Blue, believe it or not, the way that
Yeah.
I met Ed is I was playing in Fight Club for
Yeah.
one random day, and I chose Kratos, like as a joke. Like I do not play that character, and I just picked it because I was like screwing around, didn't really care too much if I won or lost. And I went in and I beat a Ratchet player with Kratos, and
HE Prodigy.
there we go. Yeah, like I at the time I think he thought I counterpicked him, but I swear to you, I am so sorry. I'm gonna sound like a jerk. I accidentally beat him. Like I was not trying to win. It was just the goofiest, most like Looney Tunes way of beating someone. That it just happened to be the dice roll of 1 in 10 times where I would have beaten him. And I think Ed saw that, being like the competitive person he is, was like, "Oh, I gotta play this Kratos player and show that I can like beat him or whatever." And he played me. He messaged me. He was like, "Hey, let's play." And I was like, "Okay." And then I chose Kratos, and I got I got tossed around pretty much. I got embarrassed because I don't play that character. And I was like, "Hey, like I don't actually play Kratos." And he was like, "Oh, then who do you play?" And I chose Good Cole. We ran a lot of sets. We had a good time. And then yeah, that whole Gamal and Pooty stuff also came shortly after that, and that's where we got to really know each other. And when I speak about long sets, and I don't believe that tournament wins are the most reflective of who the best are or how good you are, because there's a lot of players, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of amazing players that just wouldn't give you the time of day. They would not run long sets with you because they didn't want you to figure them out, or they didn't want to give you a chance to, at least, right? Like, not even saying you'll always figure someone out. Ed, or Fluffy in this case, was not one of those players. I have played countless hours with him back and forth, and I've gotten crapped on in a bunch of them too. But if he didn't give me the chance to keep playing with him, I would have never got better. I would have never been able to figure out how to approach him. And that's something that I found super frustrating about the community back then, is that not everyone was willing to put their egos aside and keep playing. And it's something that doesn't just hold true on that game, it holds through in other games and in the FGC in general. So please, if you are one of those people, put your ego aside and just play the game. It's not that serious. You're not going to get better in any other way. And it just, in my opinion, it sets back the meta and sucks. So please play each other.
Games create the stage, but it's the people who create the stories. This has been the Archives. Thank you for being part of the beginning.